In this Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster news update video, I will be sharing with you some brand new details about the game, from a potential delayed release date to brand new features. Make sure you watch until the end of this video because you won't want to miss any of it. Before we do get into today's video though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on this Dark Forces Remaster. Over the past few weeks, 3 sources have revealed more information about this remaster. Night Dive Studios, the developers behind this remaster, did an interview with a gaming magazine, and they revealed a potential delay as well as new features. Meanwhile, at Gamescom, some fans got hands-on with this remaster, and they revealed their thoughts. Plus, the official Steam page is now live, and does include a couple of new bits as well. Let's get started with the magazine interview though, which had the most amount of information in. Retro Gamer interviewed Larry Cooperman and Max Wayne of Night Dive Studios in issue 251 of the magazine. Larry Cooperman says that this remaster retains the original's exact level layout and spirit, and it's really important to them to remain faithful. Larry says, in terms of changing the basics of the game, we stay away from that. We want people to enjoy the game as it was, just under modern conditions. He also talked about the newly rendered cutscenes. The cutscenes have apparently been completely re-rendered and redrawn by Night Dive's artists. They are faithful and they are one-to-one duplicates of the original cutscenes, but in higher resolution. A brand new feature that Larry has announced is that there will be an option in the game for the original untouched cutscenes for those that do want to stay with the original. So that's a nice touch to include that, and I know die-hard fans will be very appreciative of that. Apparently, work on the remaster is progressing well. Night Dive were particularly impressed with how the original game had been archived. Most of it was fine. Max Wayne says they were fortunate enough that Disney and LucasArts of the time in the 90s were very good at backing up their data, which meant that they were able to start off with the source code, which isn't always the case when they are remastering games. Max does say that they didn't have to do any sort of reverse engineering on this project, so it allowed them to get it up and running quicker. Night Dive did need some help though, particularly when it comes to the game's music. They actually reached out to a key developer from the reversed engineered source port, being Force Engine. Night Dive reached out to them so they were able to use their code for the iMuse system, that was LucasArts' music and sound system, and that was used in a bunch of games. That saved Night Dive a lot of work. A brand new music feature was announced by Larry in this interview, and he says that there will be different music options available in the finished game. We will have a slightly enhanced version of the original soundtrack, but if you are a complete originalist, you can go back to the absolute original format and have the MIDI sounding soundtrack. So again, for the die-hard fans, they will really appreciate what Night Dive are doing here. Since the surprise announcement of this remaster, many Star Wars fans have wondered, what if there were other Star Wars games that Night Dive could remaster? Well, Larry actually discusses this, so he says we view this as our first effort, our opportunity to prove ourselves to the team at Lucasfilm and Disney. There's a treasure trove of great content there, and given Night Dive's mission to bring back all of the lost classics, we are hoping it's going to be a relationship that bears fruit in the future. So he and the team definitely want to do more Star Wars remasters, and not just Star Wars, but other LucasArts games. LucasArts created so many games over their lifespan, and many aren't playable these days, so hopefully Night Dive do get a chance to remaster other Star Wars games and other non-Star Wars LucasArts games. As for the release date, well, Night Dive said at the time of the game's announcement that expect an actual release date sometime later this year. It sounded like that maybe the game would be releasing this year, and it seems like that was the case. However, it may be slipping into 2024. When asked if the game would be slipping from late 2023 into early 2024, Larry says, "Our concern is not timing. Our concern is to ship the best possible port of the game we can." So it does sound like that the game is maybe not coming this side of Christmas, which is a shame, but it could be coming early next year. As soon as Night Dive confirm an official release date for this game, I will make a video, so please do subscribe for that. Moving on to what some fans heard and experienced at Gamescom last month. So one of my favourite YouTube channels, Digital Foundry, went to Gamescom and got to play this game, this remaster, in person, which was really, really cool. They explained that it's not just the painted parts of the cutscenes that have been redone. They've actually gone in and redone all of the CGI, so the things like the Dark Troopers. The guy who remade the Quake 2 cutscenes has done this for Dark Forces. That includes the paintovers as well as new CGI, and Digital Foundry say that this remaster is faithful and beautiful. When you are selecting difficulty levels, changing things like that, you will see that it maintains the look of the old game. The menus aren't different in that sort of way. It also maintains the software mode for 3D perspective, but there is also a hardware acceleration toggle for full frame rate. Touch-ups have been made to the visuals, so they've added glow, lights and laser blasts that glow, plus the ship at the end of the first stage is no longer low frame rate as seen in the original. Just a bunch of rough patches have been cleaned up, so it makes this game perfect effectively. You can turn off the new visual options off or on if you wish to do so, however. On to the information revealed by the Steam store. This includes the minimum and recommended specs. So as you can see, the full Steam store page is now live. You can wishlist it, but unfortunately there is no release date yet, so you can't pre-order it. In terms of system requirements, they are pretty low. So for minimum, they do allow you to use a Windows 7 PC, which is rare these days for new games. Either an AMD or Intel dual-core processor at 2 GHz. You only need 2 gigs of RAM. Any GPU with DirectX 11 or Vulkan 1.1 support. In terms of download size, it's going to come in at just 420 megabytes, so it's going to be very, very small. As for recommended specs, they do recommend Windows 10 and an Intel i5 2300 or an AMD Phenom 2 X4 945, 2 more gigs of RAM, so 4 gigabytes in total, and then just a DirectX 11 or Vulkan 1.1 supported GPU. So this proves that the game is able to be ran on pretty much any PC these days. You're not going to have a problem. It's also coming to the Xbox side of things, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. Will you be picking up this Dark Forces remaster? Let me know down in the comment section below, and remember to drop a like to help support the channel. If you did miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.